Another day, another Nintendo Switch 2 thing happening. Like, okay. Before we start, I know this console isn't gonna fail. There's millions of pre-orders already made. The console broke websites when the pre-orders went live finally for the US. So I know it's gonna sell. I knew it was gonna sell. Nintendo would be the only company to get away with like doing stuff like this and still getting away with it, basically. And you know, that's where I really stand at. I know nothing's really gonna change, and I'm basically talking to a brick wall most of the time, but I still think it's good to just let it out, even if nothing really comes from it. Maybe somewhere down the line somebody will get some common sense, so new leadership will come in, but you know, it is what it is. Most people do not care about what I'm even going to talk about right now, which is like the games not being on the cartridge. It just, most people will not care. They'll just buy the console because it just works. It's Nintendo. They have prestige, they have respect. Even if we know their true intentions behind a lot of things, the general public, which is who they're targeting really, and you know, the diehards, they don't really care. They're still gonna buy it anyway, despite whatever problems or whatever ramifications come of the actions that they take now. They don't really care. They'll just deal with the consequences later like everybody else. So, hey, if they're not gonna worry, I'm just gonna speak my piece and leave. That's all. But, you know, to get to the point of the video, yes, Nintendo Switch 2 has this fantastic feature, quote unquote, that basically doesn't include the game on the cartridge. Most of Nintendo's launch lineup for June does not have the game on the cartridge. Most Sega games, and like basically any other publisher that isn't Nintendo, they aren't really trying to keep it on the cartridge. They have this little thing that says game key card, which is basically the equivalent of the Fortnite game cards, or lack thereof, because all that was in those plastic cases was just a voucher for you to put the download code in the eShop, and then it would download in Fortnite. That's basically the equivalent of this. They actually waste plastic on making a stupid cartridge that's basically a glorified game key. That's pretty much it, and that's insane to me, because the whole point of buying a game physical, or at least before, you know, PS5, Xbox, and I guess now Nintendo Switch 2, was that when you got it physical, you actually have it. Even if it needs patches, you still have some bit of the game on the freaking disc. But starting ever since, I think the first game I noticed it in was Sonic Frontiers, because I put the game disc in because I bought it for my little cousins, and I had to download or sit there downloading the rest of the game because it only had like 1 gigabyte or less on the actual disc. The rest of the 20 gigabytes I had to download, and that was 20 gigabytes. Games now are so freaking unoptimized and uncompressed. So you're downloading 30, 50, 100 gigabytes of like data constantly if you don't just have it on a hard drive. And again, the whole point was to avoid the downloads, or for people that didn't want to go through that or didn't have the privilege of having fantastic internet connections. This was for them. And like, you know, some developers still apparently do respect that by, you know, having the actual cartridge include the game in it. But, you know, Sonic X Shadow Generations, Puyo Puyo, which isn't even a huge game, that requires a game key card. They didn't even try to print it on it. Street Fighter 6, you know, these games have just a game card in it. That's it. And you know, the basic end goal of this, it's not necessarily like, oh, they're being you know, it's not just them being lazy. It's the fact that they're trying to push digital sales more, because why bother going to the store and getting a game key card and downloading the entire thing when you could just sit at home, not go anywhere, do the exact same process, but have it digitally and just download conveniently on your console? That's pretty much it. They're just pushing digital sales because they get to control how many discounts the game has, what retail price they put it at, you know, the works. That's Nintendo's end goal, basically. That's the end goal for any developer. As long as they get you doing digital sales over physical sales, they can control everything. They can control, like, when they take it away. They can control the discounts, as I said before. They can control, like, oh, we can just put whatever file size we want, because they don't have to worry about the cartridges anymore, or whatever physical space it was taking before. They don't have to worry about manufacturing. They can just skip ahead to the digital storefront. Yeah, it's just sad. Because, like, you know, technically, it is kind of cool that I can just sit at home, get the game at the same price I would get it in the store, and just download it right then and there. But if anything has been proven recently, is that just I don't trust these guys. They can just take my game away, take my access to the game away, and I won't have any say in that. So I just wasted money for no reason. I don't even get to keep the thing I love, which is the actual game itself. I just have something sitting there with nothing on it. Or if I lose the data, that's it, it's over. That was another reason why I liked getting physical. At some point in my life, I actually did just get things digitally because it was easier. I didn't have to like just sit in my car, go all the way down, or have it shipped over. I could just download it at the same price. But then I realized that like they could just really take it away. That's the thing I'm most afraid of. I waste all this money, especially now that they're getting more expensive, and I don't even get to keep the game. If I lose the data, that's it. What if the servers are down like for the 3DS? All that's left is piracy, but they don't like that. So what other official option am I left with? Yeah, it's anti-consumer, but are people gonna care? Probably not. You know, you're gonna have your vocal people like, you know, making videos, like tweeting out stuff, but is that really gonna make a difference? Unfortunately, no, but we gotta try, I guess. Just something, because this is just ridiculous. What's the point of having a physical cartridge if it's not gonna have the game in it? If I wanted a game key card, as they say, I would just download it. I wouldn't even try. I don't know what they're doing anymore, man. It's just sad. They used to try. They used to actually try. Now they don't have to because they're on top of the world. They get money anyways. This is why competition is needed, because then they just sit on their ass all day and just pretend they don't have to do anything. They don't have to be pro-consumer or anything. They could just fart out a bunch of things, accessories, price points, this and that, and just sit and see the money roll in. But oh well, whatever happens, happens. I didn't choose this, but I have to deal with the consequences of other people's actions.